Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to today's PreMarket Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick with you this morning. We are mostly green on the screen heading into the final trading day of the week. Semiconductors are in play today. A potential deal on that front, and also a pre-announcement from earnings from NXPI. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about oil, we're going to talk about pod stocks, and talk about GameStop. Jason Raznick will be our guest today. He'll be joining us from New York City, where he is out there meeting with some clients. So Jason will be on the show at around 8:40 today and giving us his thoughts on whatever is in his portfolio right now. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate any likes, subscribes, and super chats. And let's throw it to Joel now. Joel, update us on what exactly is happening here in the overnight trading session.
Just a little more green on the screen. We even got a bump between that 4:50, the 5 p.m. close and that 6 p.m. open higher. Got up to 34.60. Not seeing much up there, folks. Big target, juicy target today would be 34.76 and a quarter, September 4th high. Coming back on the downside, you got a little gap to fill. Love to see the market at unchanged. Couldn't get filled there last night at 34.37.50. Crude in the red here by 37 cents at 40.82, and everyone is bullish oil. We'll talk about that when Triple D comes on. Gold over 1,900 here, up $24.90. Gold bugs doing their bidding today. You have silver up 65 cents at 24.53, and Bitcoin clears that $11,000 hurdle. It's up $195 at 11,150. What a week, Triple D. Are we going to end on the highs for the week? The old Friday rally close on the highs for the week.
There's been no dip to be had, and it's full-on FOMO, fear of missing out, just continuing to drive us. I thought yesterday, maybe we'd get a turn in the markets, not to be had. Tech did turn. You actually saw a lot of your leaders become laggards, but the laggards led so much. You saw so many stocks just blasting off. Stocks like GameStop, let's squeeze the hell out of the shorts. Anything with a high short interest yesterday was blasting off into orbit. So the rotation here driving the market higher. Leaders became laggards, laggards became leaders. What I'm talking about is Peloton in the red yesterday. Stocks like Zoom in the red yesterday. The stocks that have been the leaders, and you're seeing stocks like General Electric, which actually gets some love from Goldman Sachs.
Really?
Yes, it did. Trading higher here. So, this is what this market is. It's all about rotation. And once again, the old value trade is starting to show some life, but it always seems like every time the value trade starts to show some life, it turns around and gets slammed. So is it different this time? I guess that's the question, but we've been saying that for years, so I don't know if I'm playing it that it's different.
Wow. We haven't talked about GE and forever. What did Goldman Sachs have to say about GE?
I think they gave a buy rating on it and a price target of $10. Am I correct there, Mr. Israel? I don't know.
I don't have the price target, but I do have the buy rating. So I'm with
buy
you.
rating. I believe it's 10. I believe it's 10. I just skimmed over it, but you look at the stock.
Yep. I got it. $10.
Confirmed 10.
Price target. They like Larry Culp, like what he's doing. And
turnaround story. Goldman Sachs on board. It needed a catalyst, right? We have not seen positive commentary on General Electric in a long time.
When's the last time someone's given it a buy rating?
Let's go into the pro and
it's
been a while.
5 years?
Not 5 years, but it feels like 5 years.
Well, let's see. Go sorting by date.
Probably 5 months. Feels like 5
the buy
months.
rating initiated with a buy. I'll go a
Been a
quick
long
lunch on
time.
that. Longer than 5.
Nah, there's enough coverage. There's probably somebody in there in the last 5 months. I'll actually take you on that. I'm gonna get a quick lunch from you right now.
Initiation with a buy
He's talking
in
initiation.
the last 5 months,
that's
not
fine.
not an upgrade.
Initiation or an upgrade to a buy. Initiation or an upgrade.
Initiation or an upgrade, or just initiation?
No, I said initiation.
Upgrade's fine too. Upgrade's
But
harder
that's
to
not
get.
what I said, Dennis. Don't start out this morning on a bad foot. I
The
said no one is.
We're gonna fight already. It's too early to fight, Joel.
The last
Can't fight you anymore.
So the last initiation we have in Benzinga Pro on GE at a buy was from Gabelli and Company. That's from 2018. That's the last.
Holy mackerel! So
That is
you're
the
not
last.
getting that lunch because we never.
Yummy.
You're not getting, and you owe me like 25 lunches, and you owe Mitch a lunch now too. So send
The
that
transitive
soup to
property?
Mitch.
All right. When's the last someone upgraded it? I know the
Like-
initiation at
like
Gabelli.
February.
Who upgraded in February? Who's that?
You would have lost that too.
No, I'm sorry, March.
You lost that
Ooh,
too.
somebody
Dennis.
upgraded this in March. Yikes! What day in March?
It was Steven Tusa, March 2nd. JP Morgan.
Tusa upgraded March 2nd. Tusa, what are you doing?
upgraded
Our
to-
Eternal Bear
He
upgraded at the
upgraded to
wrong
neutral.
time.
He upgraded to neutral. The last upgrade to buy was from B of A in January.
Wow.
What do you think here? You think we get to 7 in this puppy? We're filling the gap. I don't know why we had to gap down. Maybe it's when another SEC investigation or something, but haven't hit 7 yet. Big sellers at 7. Room up to 720 on this. I know Des is gonna say I'm not chasing GE up 38 cents or 31 cents. So
It's getting love. The value
Yeah.
trade is on, but as a trade, I'd chase it maybe.
right.
You get a little pullback 681. I'm interested. But again, look at Boeing. So we have precedence here. Kramer coming out going, buy Boeing. It's time to buy. And it goes up to like 171, 172 that day, actually up to 175. And then they pull the rug out from under it with the tweet. And so you seem to always get a second chance on these things. Buy the dip and sell the rip is the name of the game. It's not buy the rip and sell the dip. So when you're selling the dip, you lose bets to Mitch like I did in work and Slack because I sold the dip that day and saying that Slack could go down to 20 and it just turned around and buy the dip wins again. So eternally buy the dip.
What's a little disappointing is that, well, not disappointing, but the reaction to the market yesterday when the talks broke down, it was a totally different story when Pelosi came out and said, hey, we're only going to talk about a whole deal. So we sold off hard. We came off the highs, but then boom, just got into the top of yesterday's range and turned around, and now we're 30 handles higher than that. So market maybe over the next month becoming a little numb to this. They listen to pre-market prep show. They know a deal's not going to get done, and they're just gonna assume that the market's just going to drift higher into the election. But that was a big change in market reaction, market character. We went down 100, like 90 handles last time. This time we went down like 15, and we're like, okay, that's enough. I was looking to buy, maybe get the thing at the pre-market low. No way. Turned around, went straight back up. But little tangent there. Spencer, we got a deal. AMD is using their stock.
It's not official though, is it?
Not official.
The semis are in play today. Report from the Wall Street Journal that AMD is in talks to potentially acquire Xilinx for $30 billion.
What's crazy is that they rip it up 18% when it's still just a rumor.
Yep.
I mean, what if this rumor doesn't materialize? So let's just go look at the fund market cap of Xilinx. I mean, that's a big, but they're going to buy it for 30 billion. It was 25 billion, the market cap yesterday. So does that mean it's actually more than 30 billion right now, the price that they have it at? I'm confused. So is it only a $30 billion deal? Because that's not that much of a premium.
The journal says, 30. That's what the journal says, $30 billion.
Why are they ripping it up 18% to put the market cap over 30 billion?
Because they think they're going to reject it and they're going to want to hire
a higher bid.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Holy, this is the most forgiving market of all. I mean, when you're buying stocks above what the rumored takeout price is, that's aggressive too. And maybe they know. I mean, it's not like this is, just all of a sudden it's consolidating up here. So it looks like, maybe, and maybe there is going to be some confirmation here today. There's obviously where there's smoke, there's fire. In this case, the house is burning down, I think. So at least the market thinks it is. So it looks like, this probably is going to be a deal. That's what the market is saying. It's not even chopping around. And man, I tell you, I've had a run of bad luck here. I just so happen, I'm long AMD via the call spread, but I was also long AMD in my overnight account. And it just so happens, obviously just bad luck that, I bought AMD doing some arbitrage with it, index arb, and it happened to have a pretty sizable position in AMD. And I wake up this morning, I look it down in the 81 handle, and my jaw hit the floor, and I was like, are you kidding me? And anyways, it's rallied back since then. I've already cut the loss, so I can freely talk about it. But it sucks to come in. You're going for like 0.2, 0.3% on an ARB, and you come in and you lose 3% on it. You're like, oh man, there's a day killer for you. But anyways,
how's that spread doing?
What spread?
The AMD spread you have on. You say
oh,
you
the
have
call spread?
Yeah.
It doesn't move. It's like, I'm telling you, man, you want to kill the volatility on something, go way out with your options, and there's no volatility at all. So it doesn't move. Like AMD moves $5, it moves $1. I mean, I don't ever trade option spreads, and you always think, oh yeah, lever yourself up. Well, I guess when you go out that far, you kill all the volatility. So you want to kill the volatility in a stock that's wild, go way out with your option spreads, and all of a sudden there's no volatility at all.
Okay.
It doesn't move. I'm telling you. I don't even know where I'm at, and I don't even look at it. I'm up $1 or down $1 always. And the stock's moved around like 10 points, yeah.
It's
I got up to like 90. I went from like 80 to 94, and I was up like $1 in my call spread. I was like, holy, options suck. But then you know what? It fell like 15 points, and I only lost like $1. And I was like, oh, options are awesome.
We'll see how that
anyway, I'm long the 80, short the 100. So I was going for it. I put it on for $6, so basically 14 points max. And that was my argument, was that was going out to January. So I was trying to argue by the end of the year, I thought AMD was going to $100. I still think it could. I'm sticking with the call spread. We're going to find out. It's kind of just for fun now, but I honestly don't even look at it because I hardly move. It's probably once, when it's going to start moving is when you get in December and you only got like 20 days left on that thing. Then it's going to start moving.
I think you bought it when the stock was around 78, 79.
Yeah, no. And then it went to 90. The stock went to $94. So if I just had my stock, I'd be up 15 points, but I was up like $1.50 on the options.
All right. AMD, technically, they really slammed this thing when Dennis got up and checked it out, got under $82. Doesn't look like you're going to see that again, just the way it's rebounded off there. Pre-market low, 81.45. 85 looks interesting. That's where you pop to a $3 rally. And what's yesterday's range? It had a pretty big range yesterday. Wow, let's see what happens. 85.95 to fill the gap. So a little bit, let's call it 86 resistance. And if you start to go into retreat here, I don't think you're going to see the pre-market low. What's your 3-day low? Your 3-day low is down at 83.53. You might get a look at that, but that's a deal, potential deal on the table there for XLNX.
And NXPI also in play today. They pre-reported some earnings yesterday after the close. They said preliminary Q3 sales are going to be at $2.26 billion, which is above the $2 billion estimate there. And that was the number.
Wow, the stock is new all-time highs, $143. Remember, wasn't it Qualcomm going to buy them for $130? They're better off without them. It's $143 without them. So everybody who is, sad that they didn't get the stock taken over by Qualcomm is happy today because the stock is $143. I don't know if they held through the big fall in March when it got down to 60, but new all-time highs, NXPI. I don't like being short stocks making new all-time highs.
Oh, big spike on this one. If you would have had to order out at 146, you would have got it. Pre-market high 146.50, backed off $3 on it. Trying to hold 142, so loses that 142. I think you get back some profits. If you could somehow get up to 146.40, I think you find sellers maybe even starting at 146. Former all-time high was right at 140 even, I believe. Yeah, 139.59. So. Nice move there. Looks like a little bit of profit taking going on right now.
Everybody wants to talk rocket.
Okay.
I'm still in it. I'm back to even. This has been a dog. This is a stock that appears to only trade for one day when you have a catalyst. And today we have another catalyst. We have an upgrade. Who's upgrading here this morning, Mr. Israel? And then we're going to break down the technicals.
JP Morgan to overweight. This is now the second upgrade in the last, call it 2.5 weeks or so. Yeah. And there's your catalyst.
So it's back up here to 24. We know this has been a dog. It had the nice, it was dog, and then it had the nice upgrade there back on, I believe, the 1st of October, and that's when it had the big pop. Consolidated those gains for 5 days, and now it has the big pop again. Like, I think it's going to 25. I think you got 25 here. I think you're going to struggle at 25 because you had multiple tops just when we had the collapse after, popping out at 25. And, you know, it's the whole psychological number, 25, 22 and a half, 25, 27 and a half, 30. This those big numbers with lots of optionality probably there as well come into play. So, I don't know. Like, I've got this in the long-term portfolio. I'm probably sticking with it. But if I had it on for a trade, I think I'd sell it if it got near 25.
I don't think you're going to see 25 today.
You could. It's already up $1.31. You could. Yeah. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But I think if it gets to 20, I think it's the next stopping point. Okay. I'll just say that.
Yeah,
I think you got room to 25. I think it's going to struggle to get through 25. It's going to take another big catalyst to get it through 25.
I think I see a little shorter term resistance in here because if it can clear, let's see, what's this high? 24. Ooh, that is 24.97. Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at this chart the way it's gridded here. Let's see. There's some highs in the 24 handle. So if you're not confident, if you want to get out today, you're looking at short-term trade or you have some options, just take a look at these daily highs that you had in the 24 handle. And there's really only one, 24.60. September 15th high, another high at 24.49. So I don't know. 24.50, I think, would be a good area today. Maybe 25 tomorrow or sometime next week. On the downside here, if you could get back to the top of yesterday's range, that's 23.39. I'm not sure we're going to do that. Real good support under 22. Wait for a little pullback and then wait for like 3, 4, 5 lows in one area, then strike, because it seemed, it did that here at 20. Looked like buyers stepped up to 22. So see if you can get another formation like that before you get too aggressive in RKT.
Keep going with these tickers from the chat. I like this.
You like it?
All right.
Yeah. Because we don't have a lot of earnings right now, so we might as well just go ticker time almost all show.
There was no earnings today.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, 0 earnings. So let's do ticker time all show. We did the deal. We've got some ratings, but let's do ticker time the whole show.
What about Gilead? Let's do Gilead real first.
All right, you had the CEO on CNBC earlier talking up, their dosage capabilities and their production capabilities and all that good stuff. I haven't seen what the stock has done in the pre-market this morning.
I want to buy it here. I do, and now it's starting to go. So I mean, there's just so much support down here. You have obviously, we know the REGN was a fade yesterday, and it seems like every time these things get good drug news, they are a fade. That was and talking about the REGN, what a gift. I mean, I thought, if it got up to 620, it did in the pre-market, but holy mackerel, that was the biggest gift of all time. Like I said, if I was long this thing, I'd be selling it as fast as I possibly could. I didn't short it because I got burned once short, and I was like, I kind of want to short it. I said I do want to short it. I just didn't do it. So anyways, it would have been a good short yesterday. So it seems like when they get this positive news. Now the Gilead, though, is a different story because it is up $1. But I mean, the stock has been in the doghouse for so long. We know the dogs are barking. Gilead is the definition of a dog with a billion fleas on it. So it is a dog of a dog of a dog. And the dogs are moving right now. Now, it's probably not a lot of short interest on this. A lot of the dogs have been moving because they have higher short interest. But you can't ignore the fact that trash is cash right now. So on a pullback here, I think I'd buy Gilead on a pullback.
Just stuck its head up over 65 here, a couple prints above 65. So keep an eye on that for continuation move. What else do you have in the 65 handle? 65.54. I'd use that as a target. You haven't reached that yet. Watching Gilead trade on days like this, it almost always has a little bit of a flush, even after a higher open. Top of yesterday's range, maybe 64 was the area you broke out from. maybe throw a bid out there at 64 over the next couple days and see if you can catch it there. But nice little move up $1.37. Let's see if it can hold the gains today.
I want to go back to the theme of trash is hot from yesterday. We have GameStop.
Oh, yeah.
And we have pot.
Higher short interest. They squeezing everything. Go run your short interest filter. If your short interest is cooking above 25%, do not be short those stocks right now. And maybe it's already too late that they've already ripped everything above 25%, but this is classic short squeeze in all of these stocks. GameStop, what's the short interest in GameStop?
So that's the interesting thing.
That's the big question.
So I went to look that up, and what threw me for a loop is the number was over 100%. And I thought, how can that be? And
I see it too. It says 101%.
And so I don't know this for certain, but my theory is that's the result of either naked short sell. Either it's wrong, the number's wrong.
I think it's wrong,
or it's naked short selling, which is illegal for most people, but it is still allowed, I think, for a couple of there are some exemptions out there. So that was basically my thought: is it's either a wrong number or it's just naked short selling, and they're short shares that don't even exist, and that's why the number was over 100%. And the other theory is that it's over 100% of the float, not the shares outstanding. Those are two different numbers. So two different calculations. I don't know. The point is the short interest in GameStop, but based on FINRA data, is really high. That's the bottom line.
It's such a difficult thing to calculate. And that's why I'm going to go with the number is wrong. And here's something that's going to blow your mind. And this is, looking from a market maker perspective, but believe it or not, there is a rule. So if you're making markets, and what I mean by making markets is you're on the bid and you're on the offer all the time. So you have your Citadels and your Virtues that are on the bid, on the offer, they're in the depth. They've got buys out there and sell short out there on everything. They're making markets on everything. If they have a long position and they go to sell their long position, they actually have to market short because they have other short orders out there. So here's a stock. Let's say they have 10,000 shares of General Electric. If they have more than 10,000 shares of short orders out there, they have to mark their long sale short. You actually have to market short. So even though they're long the stock, when they go to sell the stock, they have to mark the stock short. And that's got to mess up the FINRA accounting to my understanding. I don't know how they back that out, because here they've sold the stock, but they were actually long the stock and they had to market short because of regulatory issue, because that's the rule. I mean, I don't understand why that exists, but that's the way it works. So I think when you're going to do all the counting, it's all the market making shorts out there that screw it up to a certain extent. So I'm not sure. I don't think you have 103% short interest. Maybe if I'm wrong about this, it's something I've actually never dug really deep into, is actually how each individual, or how it's all calculated and figured it out. I mean, FINRA, we report out to grab it from that. And what you say, FINRA reports every 2 weeks or something, Spencer?
Right. So the rule is any FINRA firm has to report any broker has to report all their short sales every 2 weeks. So
if you're reporting your short sales, but some of these short sales were actually longs. So I'm not sure exactly how that works. And I've never, I'm not a compliance officer here. So, we're digging into, really deep plumbing here.
Right.
But I gather that probably screws up the count to a certain extent. So I don't think it's the result of naked shorting. What naked shorting is, so for newer listeners or for people, there's a lot of people, seasoned traders, that don't know what that is. It's selling a stock short without a locate, without a borrow. So you're actually selling the stock that you actually don't know that you can borrow for sure. Your brokerage does all that for you behind the scenes, so you don't have to worry about it. I'm a prop trader, so if my broker doesn't have it automatically, I can actually go out and get a locate myself, and then I have to mark it that I got the locate from blah, blah, blah. So they know I'm good. So, there is locate firms that actually give stocks, and, and then it gets expensive. But, you at a retail broker don't have to worry about that because they do all that for you. So, but the behind the scenes stuff, it's confusing as hell. I mean, when you've got market makers that have to mark long stock short to sell it, it's got to screw up the counts in there to a certain extent. So I think when I see 103% short interest in GME, I think it's more just counting. It's miscounting, but I could be wrong. And if somebody out there is listening, the market structure experts, like I said, I've never really dug into how that count is actually done. So I'm speculating here to a certain extent. But I've got to think it's not that simple to just add up all the short sales and say, okay, here's what we got.
The bottom line for our purposes for right now is that the short interest in GameStop has and has been exceedingly high. So
and this is exactly all you need to know as traders here, is that when you have short interest, whether it's 100% or 80% or 60% or 30%, anything above 20-25% is significant. And when you start seeing this dash to trash, which we've seen, you're going to squeeze the hell out of them. And this GameStop, I don't think this is a turnaround story. I think this is nothing more than a huge epic short squeeze. And if you're long this thing, if I was long this thing, I won't say you, because we don't give investment advice. We just give opinions here. But if I was long this thing, I would sell the hell out of it. I would not be buying GameStop thinking it's turning around. And I might be wrong. There's turnaround stories out there. It could be. I personally don't think the company GameStop is turning it around. I think it's a short squeeze.
Let me offer a counterpoint to that. I think what the market is, it could be a short squeeze, but I think what
it is a short squeeze. It's a matter of, is there a real turnaround story here with the short squeeze?
What the market could be thinking is, okay, Microsoft has this deal now with GameStop. What is to stop Microsoft from just buying the company outright in like a year or two? That's what I think is some of the reason behind the move yesterday.
They don't want retail stores in every mall.
You don't know. It's a drop in the bucket for Microsoft. It would cost them like a week of revenue, right?
How much debt is there?
There's a lot.
GameStop. They own a lot of, they have a lot of leases. I don't know. I don't think anybody's coming to buy GameStop. Like I said, I'm not an expert in the way Microsoft is thinking about things, and I just don't know why they would want to buy physical stores. Here's the problem with GameStop.
I'm not saying they would or they wouldn't. I'm saying the market thinks, I think that they could. Now that at least they have an in, right? They've got this partnership. They're selling a lot of Xbox stuff. They're getting them on the cloud and in Microsoft Teams and all these things together. Now at least it's not out of the realm of possibility that Microsoft could just buy them in a year or whatever.
Microsoft could buy whoever they want. I think they're buying somebody. I don't think it's GameStop.
Okay,
but
fine.
that's why we have a market. We have two separate opinions. I personally just think it's a short squeeze. And when we look at GameStop a year from now, it's a lot lower. But I don't know when the squeeze stops. It's full on squeeze central here right now. It looks like it might, it looks like it's going to slow down temporarily this morning. But I mean, we look at GoPro. I mean, is GoPro a turnaround story all of a sudden? The camera on a stick? Is it a turnaround, or is it just an epic short squeeze? Look at all your pot stocks yesterday. Are these all of a sudden, Afria, is it all of a sudden worth 30% more than it was 3 days ago? It's a greenhouse full of pot plants. CGC, same thing, 14, 18. I'd imagine if you go and look at the short interest on these stocks, I try to look for patterns. My type of trading is to recognize patterns. The pattern right now that I'm seeing is if you have a high short interest, you are ripping higher. We have squeezes going on all over the place right now because everybody's been piling in tech, and tech's the only place to be, and we're going to sell all this other crap because it's never going to go up again. Well, that trade's wrong now, at least in the short term, because tech is cooling off and people are diving into the trash stocks again. So squeeze all over the place. I think anything with a high short interest is obviously had a significant spike. I don't personally think it lasts.
Real quick, GameStop, I'm going to throw this in there in between the Spencer Dennis debate. Someone likes this at 1250 right now. I don't know if they shorted a pile overnight over 13, but there's a steady bid there based on the 15-minute chart. So you get rid of that buyer at 1250. I would just go down, maybe a quick whoosh down to the whole number, $12, 12.10. I think your battle going up, you can see that once it started to come down, some people are really trying to wiggle out of this thing. Even though in the last bracket, man, what did you do? You got up to 1341. I wonder if that was an odd lot, but I think a lot of people would be love to see that closing price anywhere near 1349, and probably an inside day today, considering that low was way down at 9 and change. But let's see what happens. Really, there's a buyer there at 1250. Historically, when these activists come in, you get the pump, it sells off, or maybe it rallies and sells off because of earnings. But people are jammed up there at that closing price. See what happens if it could get up to 13.49. Right now, buyers at 12.50.
All right, it is 8:30. I don't think we have a number today, so I'm not worrying about that or anything. I will go back to the chat, see
Sure.
what's on their radar.
What do we got?
There's a bunch of tickers being dropped in.
Oh, man.
Oh, I saw someone mentioned Triple D. Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. DDD.
Short squeeze.
This is fitting in that theme. Nothing
Yep.
really new there. What else did I see from the chat?
Zoom. A couple of people talking about Zoom.
All right,
Can
Zoom.
we go to Peloton? Zoom. We'll do these two together.
Sure.
Zoom has not made a new high on the move, but Zoom gets a rating today. So can the rating get it out of its doldrums? It's a very, very, very important day for Zoom. So this is going to be, you have your moment of truth. And this is going to be the moment of truth for Zoom, because we do have a buy rating out there. I believe it's Mizuho initiates it with a buy. Johnny come lately, holy mackerel, Johnny come lately, initiating it now. For some reason, they feel like this $100 billion video conferencing company is worth more, and they come out now and initiate it with a buy of $550. So that is why it is trading up 8 points today. Nothing more than the Zoom buy rating from Mizuho. The question now is, do they start getting, is this a catalyst to take us up through 500 and start making new highs? Or do they decide that, no, we're going to use this to make profits? If Zoom can close and close strong here today, that's a good sign. But if it goes red, if it shrugs us off, and I'm not saying it's going to, I'm just saying if there's a binary scenario here, if it goes red, I think it's time to short Zoom. So if it goes red, only if it goes red, you don't know yet. We are still gathering information. How does it respond to a positive analyst coming out this late? It's responding well this morning, which is expected. Does the sellers emerge saying, no, I want to book my profits? Because if they do, that would be the sign that Mizuho just bought the top. So big number, important number is 500. It needs to get back over 500, hold, like Joel would say, a close over 500, and then you can start to say, okay, well, maybe it's safe to dip my toe in here. But Zoom is the kind of stock that will fall $50 one day, and you'll be like, what happened? Why? Because it is a crowded trade. And it has been sitting here waiting for direction. Mizuho is giving it some direction. It better not shrug it off.
I'll give you a shorter term number here. We're trading at 487. That's up, what is that? Up $8.45. I would say, what happens at 489.46? Let's just call 490. That's yesterday's high. You had a couple other highs at just under 488. I think someone's targeting that 488 to 490 area to work out of the piece. So I wouldn't get super excited about this one until you get well into the 490 handle. I think it's going to struggle right there. Let's see what happens at yesterday's high. It's not there yet. On the downside, just call it like 475. That's big support. 473.22 was your low on Tuesday, but 75.58. This has been in a trading range, and I'll go with you, Dennis. This is a prove me day for Zoom.
It is.
It really is good. A lot of times, man, these upgrades or these price target raises or initiations with the buy, man, sometimes these guys nail it. And then sometimes they
buy the top.
They're just dead wrong. Like
Sometimes
that guy
Wayfair.
Technology or a plan you've never seen before. Who is that? I don't.
Well, we got it right now because we've got an upgrade to Wayfair today too, Joel.
Got one this morning from William Blair to outperform.
Okay, some of these analysts are way, pun intended, way late to the party. So is Wayfair party over? You know what? It's in consolidation station. So I don't totally mind this upgrade. They're trying to take it out of consolidation station. So they timed it. They looked at it. They're like, okay, it's looking for direction. Let's give this stock some direction here today. We're saying higher. And the trend has been your friend. The stock could break out. I mean, this again, it's a prove me day for Wayfair too. I think Wayfair probably shows some life and might even get up into the 320 area here if it really gets hot. But again, you need to get above 324. We haven't made a new high on the move. And if Wayfair, starts to, give back and then starts to go red, that would be a sign that it's the rotation that's scary. I mean, all of these trades are just very, very crowded. And that's always an issue. I mean, you can get on the crowded trades. I'm not trying to call the top in tech, but I'm saying it's not surprising. What I do is I look for turns, and we saw a turn
I was going to talk
yesterday
to you about that.
in Peloton.
Yeah.
We saw a turn yesterday in a number of tech issues where, okay, NVIDIA's got a downgrade today, actually. We've got NVIDIA turning, so we have a number of stocks, AMD is doing the deal, but it's going to show some red here too. You have a lot of your leaders that aren't leading right now. So the laggards became the leaders became the laggards. What do the leaders do? They just turn around and start buying them again because that's what they always seem to do. One of these times are actually going to get a sustained sell-off, though, and that's going to be the concern.
I'll give you a shorter term number here in Wayfair, and then I just want to make one comment on what you said about the turn. 3 highs between 310.99 and 312. You're right there right now. So hey, you blow through 312, you go 312 and a half, 313. You just put, I wouldn't want to be, if it went up and then came back down to that level, I would not want to be long that. I think there's a sneaky seller out there keeping an eye on 312. And then just talking about, turns, Dennis, and, I know you and Mitch like to talk about the stories and everything and story stocks, but it's also, to be able to catch the turn in things, right? And sometimes it's feel, sometimes it's an analyst rating, it's something, but when we were back in the Bright office, you could tell the turn by listening to the spoos, when the market rally, and then all of a sudden you hear a bunch of noise and boom, the market turned. So it's important to have a story, but when you're following a story on something, make sure you have a point where, the story is ending or the story is becoming a little bit suspect. Like what was some of the solar stocks that sold off yesterday?
And again, those are great examples. All of them.
All of them.
But they've been running forever. I'm long SunPower, and I'm like looking at this thing. It's went from 10 to 18 in like a week. I was like, I just want to sell that thing. I got in the long-term portfolio. I picked it up at $8. So I was like, I think this is going to be a winner, long term. And I'm looking at it, I was like, holy mackerel, it's up 80% in a week and a half. Should I book that? But I'm trying not to trade the long-term portfolio. Like I keep, confusing trading with investing, and I'm trying to become a better investor by holding longer, but I always trade out of all, I trade out of this stuff too dang much. But anyways, SunPower turned, they all turned. But why do they turn? Because they're crowded. I mean, stocks just don't go up 80% in a week and a half without having some type of pullback. So is it just a healthy pullback? It might be, but it was overdone. These things were all overdone. So I'm not sure where they go from here, but it in the short term, it was a turning candle yesterday for a lot of these Momo stocks.
And you know what also was
lithium.
Well, what was interesting though? Like, what I'm saying, it's easier. Okay, yeah, you got to look for the turn. Look at the previous day's high. Like right now, I think you got I think you got a short-term top in here at $18, 18, 17, 18 and a quarter, double top. The real seller wanted to sell over 18, let it get up there a couple times, came in with 4 or 5, 100,000 shares, pounded it down, let it drift back up. So 18, I think that could be your high for a little bit. Maybe if you could stomach this thing back down to 14, Dennis, then go ahead and hold on to it. Little 50% retracement, find some support again at 14 and then make another run higher. But big seller at 18, and there was your turn. Closed yesterday at 1666. Not trading much up today. So after that red candle, people a little bit hesitant on that.
It's still the value trade on. And, we as traders, short-term traders, need to identify these turns. The long-term investors, you don't have to worry about the turns. And you use the turns as opportunities to position yourself, maybe into good companies that you think are going to continue to go up, following, buying the dips on the on the up stocks and uptrends. But as traders, you can identify these turns ahead of the other people. Who's talking about a turn in tech? Nobody. Nobody is talking about a turn in tech. Everybody's talking about, look at this market ripping higher. But when you pull back and you look what's underneath, you had a bad day for a lot of your leaders yesterday. You really, really did. It was the laggards that held us up. But I mean, I think Apple closed red, didn't it? It wasn't up much if it didn't. Apple was 115.08. Yeah, Apple closed down 9 cents yesterday. So you had Facebook. Okay, not a good example because it was going up. But you did have some of your leaders. Tesla had a terrible day yesterday.
I wanted to bring
Tesla
that
was
up.
Upgraded. It was
I
upgraded.
know.
And they gave it all back. And
Yeah.
close red. Neo. I was like, I like this Neo. You know, I want to add to it. You know what? It had a really bad day because the market was ripping higher. It got up there near, and now it's put in the deadly double top. So it's amazing. One day later, it's like, oh, that's an ugly candle. It's like all of a sudden I was like, I might sell my Neo. I just wrote it down.
Oh, there's a bunch of tops there at 22. But it's hanging on. It's
hanging
on, though.
It's still hanging on. And you got to almost give it to 20 and say, okay, now it's breaking down. But then again, you know, when it breaks through 20, it gets a little dip and then it rips back higher. So it's been a tough, and whenever you've been selling any tech stock, you've been wrong because the dang things just keep going higher. And whenever you've been selling any of these value stocks, you've been right because they just keep going lower. But right now, we have turned for a number of days and you were seeing the crowded trades become less crowded. So then that's sometimes a good thing. You know, they get less crowded, they pull back, and it gives you an opportunity for stronger hands to come in for the next wave higher. I mean, you know, you talk about the movement like Fastly from 2 days ago. That was absolutely just insane. FSLY goes from 102 bucks to 121. But then yesterday puts in a little double top there, pretty close, buck away, $120 stocks moving around 20 points a day.
Wow.
I'll call it a double top. It wasn't a great candle, so it needs to get back up above 120. So is there a turn in tech? That's the question. We don't have the answer for that, but there is a turn in tech. And people say I'm bashing Tesla. I mean, I'm not bad. I'm just pointing out that it didn't have a great day yesterday. It's somewhat concerning if you're on all these Momo stocks.
I'm going to stick with my Tesla here and for long term. So I'm not. It's just the sellers moved down from like 455. They moved down to 440. Some people they're trying to sell strength here in this. And yesterday that high at what was the exact high? Nice round number, 439. What was your high right here? 439.13. So I'm going to move it down. I think 440 is a big roadblock here. Until you get over 440, close over 440. I know it really hasn't been going with the market either. New Street. What was their target? I heard New Street. They think they're going to make like $17 in 2026 because they think they're going to sell 20 million cars. Do you know what the most amount of cars a car company's ever sold in a year?
Tell us.
No.
10 million.
Is that true?
Yeah.
So New Street thinks they're going to sell 20 million cars, double what the most a car company has ever sold.
Yes. But they're not a car company. They're a technology company.
I mean,
they're a solar company.
You can't look. In valuation, I tweeted yesterday, does valuation even matter? In valuation only matters. So, you know, valuation doesn't matter to this market really at all. We've seen the low PE stocks just go lower, the high PE stocks just go higher. You know, valuation traders just getting the beats. I'll tell you the moments in time when valuation mattered were in 2001 after the tech bubble burst, in 2009 after the financial crisis. So when you get bubbles that burst with in glorious fashion to the tune of the NASDAQ down 81%, that's when people are looking, okay, well, what actually makes sense here? You know, that's actually, you know, what has actually got value? That's when value matters. Right now, we're not in that type of market. Value has not mattered. So you can't just crunch numbers and say, oh, it's going to matter all of a sudden. It's probably not going to matter all of a sudden. It will matter again one day. But I don't know if today is the day that value all of a sudden matters. Value stocks are looking better, and there's going to be turn. You just got to identify those turns, identify when the trades are crowded, and ride the different waves, obviously. And Tesla, valuation, you can't look at it on that. One day it will matter, and that's why Tesla's not in my long-term portfolio. But as a trade, I'd say you're still long this thing as long as it's above 400.
Just to put a bow on that discussion of the turn and the market and value and how to recognize that, just keep an eye on the SPY versus the IWM. If you look at
such an indicator.
If you look at Spencer, man, that kid's smart.
If you look at
stuff up,
just look at October. Since October 1st, okay, SPY is up 2.5%, give or take.
Yeah,
IWM is up 8%. 8% for the IWM, 2% for SPY. Yep. I mean, small cap is winning.
Oh yeah, right now
in October for the last 8 or 9 days.
Small cap's killing it right now.
Yeah,
killing it right now.
So just use that. That's your indicator. Just use that.
It is. It's a great indicator, and you know we talk about that. And the same thing's happening today. IWM's up 0.94%. Here's your Q sitting up 0.54%. The Nasdaq not keeping up. So you can tell it's a little bit of a value rotation, but you keep that up and all of a sudden you start to see those turns. You know, if you're in those value names, now is the time to ring the register. So it's been a good move in these value stocks. And if I was in some of these trashy stocks that I was talking about, like GameStop, and not saying the company's trash, but these are stocks that have underperformed for a long time. It's went from 4 to 13.
Yeah,
this is a gift. This is a gift.
We have Jason Raznick on. Jason, where are you right now?
So I'm trying to get you the angle, but it's not working. I'm in New York. The World Trade Center is behind me, and then the harbor, across the way. Yeah. There he goes, Jersey. Spencer, I think you used to live there. That's Goldman Sachs office.
Yeah, I can see my parents' house.
Yeah, so that's where I am. And that's
nice view. Nice view. Where are you staying? What hotel is that?
I can't tell you that on live TV.
I don't know. Everybody's showing up there at the door trying to get autographs.
But now I need to put this on. Yeah, autographs, all that stuff. I got
T-shirts.
Here. Okay, here we go.
So you're allowed to travel and all because you had the virus, and I guess does that mean you're immune?
Well, Spencer, we live in a free republic. Anyone's allowed to.
I know. You know what I meant.
I'm just saying. But yes, I had Corona, and so traveling is something that the repeat rate is like extremely low. Yes, I took Delta. It was probably the best flight I've ever had. No one sits next to me. They don't really give you food or anything. They just sit there. I honestly, my flight from Detroit to New York was an hour and like 20 minutes. I wish it was 3 hours. I mean, I watched part of a movie and CNBC or whatever. But yes, it was great. It was great traveling. I'm leaving tonight here in New York, running around to meetings and doing different things. And but we got to talk about this week. Good trading week. Good trading week. I don't know if it's good trading week for everyone, but some of our plays like Upwork.
And a huge stock move.
Huge stock move. And what I would like to say, it went up. I own a bunch of calls on it and a bunch of stock. I told you guys, when you want to edge the market, yes, you can do like Dennis makes hundreds of trades a day. Joel has technical patterns. I go more in the fundamental, and I felt like I had an unfair advantage. I knew how Upwork changed the pricing model. If you guys go back 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago, I think it was, I said Upwork is now making the work stay on the platform, and a couple other things they did. It was such a no-brainer buy for me. And there's a girl who like messages me, who works with us, and I gave her Upwork. It went down like 8% after I gave it to her. She's like, "See, you don't know what you're talking about." That's not how the market works. And it's just and you if you have conviction, you go after it. Upwork, I have extreme amount of conviction, and I did. So I was buying at 14, 15, 16, and now we're at 1987. And I guess maybe I'm on it maybe too long, but my problem is, and Dennis, I talk about this all the time. My problem is I may have been right on Peloton buying it at 23, 28, 30. I never buy big enough positions. And Dennis,
I do the same thing. I don't buy big enough either.
I know. So Upwork and SPH or Suburban Propane were like the first two that I really went big on. And I mean, my Tesla guys, I should be retired in Hawaii. I mean, I started buying Tesla when I was 38, but I didn't buy big enough. I should be retired in Hawaii. And like, that's when I started buying Tesla, and I didn't really sell. So I'm taking I'm taking more risk, individual, more stock risk, which I haven't done in the past. So it's helped me, at least when it goes up. You guys still have lithium moving. I own mostly calls, a little bit of the stocks. I sold some of that stock when I told you when Elon said lithium was plentiful. Again, I'm not a lithium expert, but that is LTHM. You guys like the chart on that?
Been flying high.
Yeah.
This has been me and Joel are still in it. That's from you, Raz. So thank you for that one. I've actually almost doubled my money in this thing.
Yeah.
The question is, I mean, now these things have had pretty big moves. Is it time to lighten up?
See, that's the challenge, because when we know the lithium story, most others don't. So my question is, when they find out? Yeah,
that's when you need to sell.
Yeah, like, well, no, but maybe there's more people to find out. The lithium position, I'm up 134%, 134.29, and then the call options, I'm up 400%. I'm not selling yet. I'm like looking for a 13 exit. But Dennis, you haven't sold any?
No, I haven't either, but I kind of want to. And whenever the stocks go up, you want to sell. I mean, I double my money in this thing. I want to sell it.
and I sold some of the common. Don't get me wrong. I sold some of the common a little too early, but it was still a huge win. And then, you know, another one of my decent sized positions that you guys like to talk about, and I know the founders pretty well. SDC, Smile Direct, SDC, S and Sam.
That's looking good too.
Yeah, that one's looking good.
It's looking phenomenal. And you guys, the funny thing is you haven't heard much from them lately. You haven't, right? You haven't. So I look at these as a fundamental thing. There's going to be news from them eventually, like some stuff they've been working on. So your downside could be protected. It's like my Upwork story. Same kind of thing. And guys, again, there's no crystal ball. Like my Upwork play, maybe I was wrong on it. But if I was 100% certain, I guess I would have like taken loans from Dennis and like put all the money in, you know, or Spencer. I would say, Dennis and Spencer, give me some money so I can put it all in Upwork. I don't want anyone to think, I don't want anyone on here to mortgage their house and do stuff like that to do a one stock position.
If they do it through Rocket Mortgage, though.
I guess.
So if he's going to get the mortgage for the stock, do it through Rocket.
I didn't know, Joel.
Spencer liked that one. Hey,
I caught it.
Yeah. So no. What do they do? Like you got to bang the drum, Spencer. You got to have like a drum.
So you know that's a joke.
Yeah. And I'm not in the YouTube chat right now, so I don't know if you guys are asking questions on certain stocks. I'm still owning VSTO, Big, and SPH and UGI are my UGI and SPH are my propane plays.
Hey, Jason, I can ask.
UGI, what's the other propane play?
SPH.
SPH.
Sam, Peter, and I'm up 23% on that one. That one I took a decent sized position in. Now, I didn't do as much fundamental research on SPH. Here's the question. If restaurants need to buy propane tanks, so for the cold weathers, whatever, the question I need to know from Suburban Propane is what makeup is industrial versus retail. So if only 5% of their revenue is from retail, then this thing's not a big deal. But if it's like more than that, then it's a big thing. So I didn't go as deep as I would like to on SPH, but I'm just playing the trend.
Here, some questions from the chat, Jason, since you're not in there. Do you still own Duncan?
Yep, I own Duncan and I own Generac. I'm going to own Duncan. If you guys ask me in 2 weeks, I'll still own Duncan. I think Duncan I bought it at 76 or 75. We were up 9% on Duncan, so we're looking good on the call options. We bought the December 90s. We're up 47% on Duncan. I'm still holding Duncan, Spencer, and I'm gonna continue to watch it. I'm not buying more. If it went down, I'd buy more. I'm in New York right now, and you guys, if you want to make money, here's a trick. Come to New York, walk the streets, go on the subway. If I did this in like 2004 and or 2000, I don't know what year it was somewhere around there, 2008 maybe. And those little ear pods, the iPod thing that people were walking around with, they're everywhere. And that was with my another indicator to buy more Apple stock. And so when I'm walking around, I'm looking to see what people have in their hands. Do they have a Starbucks cup or do they have a Dunkin' cup? They have a lot of Starbucks cups, don't get me wrong, but we're seeing some Dunkin', so that makes me happy. Another stock I've been buying and I haven't mentioned on the show, it's just one because I don't know. People like to make fun of me when I wear them, but Crocs. I own like 3 pairs of Crocs. CROX. We got Justin Bieber involved. We got Justin Bieber involved, and I think I'll own Crocs unless we see a big technical down. CROX, please. Yep. I think I'm gonna own Crocs unless we see like a big fall. I don't have as much conviction on it as Duncan, but I'm owning it. I'm owning it, and I'm in it now, and it's something that I would probably sell if I see Crocs hit like 55. I'll take some off, but right now I own it. I'm sure in the chat they're asking about GAN, GAN.
Yeah.
I am in GAN.
Finally, get some love. It gets a contract.
Yes, big week in GAN. I wasn't sure if it was this week or last week. GAN announced a win 10-year deal in Detroit. So here's the backstory on this, guys. It's been speculated that GAN has a deal in Detroit, in Michigan, because they've been saying that. They didn't say who it was with. Now, you have to understand why this is so powerful. It got with 2 Indian reservations. Wynn Casino is going to is going to be like the brand, and GAN's going to power it. GAN makes money consistently when they have more of these platforms. So GAN is a question. One of my favorite stocks, one of my favorite CEOs, and one of my favorite persons is Jeff Lawson, the CEO of Twitter. Twilio is the thing behind the thing. GAN is the thing behind the thing. So what you have to evaluate is GAN going to execute as nice as fellow high school alumni, Jeff Lawson, at Twilio, is the GAN CEO, going to execute as well as him? If he does, GAN's going to be at $60. Just going to be. There's no question. If he doesn't execute, doesn't get partnerships, GAN's going to stay around the 15 to 25 range. I'm holding GAN. I haven't talked to the CEO yet. Zoltan was supposed to get me on the show with the CEO. So we have a big small cap event coming up. I think they may be presenting GAN. If they're not, they will get them. But like, I can't make my full conviction. Is this GAN going to be the next like 300, 100, 200% gainer? They have the makings for it, guys. They do. I've studied the technology. I looked at the competitors, but there's a couple competitors that I think are good too. What I'm hoping is they get to, one of them gets taken out, and then there's less choice. Gets taken out by like a casino player, not someone that's looking to provide more tools. So that is what I'm hoping. And then speaking of that, last night I opened a DraftKings account because I wanted to bet on Bryson DeChambeau to win the Masters, but you can't do that. So like, I don't even know how to bet on him. So, but that's what I want to do.
Why can't you do that? They don't.
Nope. It's like it's like a fantasy thing. You form a team and you can win money that way. So it's a game of skill, not betting. No, I thought it was that. I opened the account. I didn't put money in yet. Once I realized I couldn't do it, I didn't do it. But I need to bet on my friend Bryson, who you guys know I played with a few weeks ago, to win the Masters and this week's tournament. He is just out of this world. Okay, so one thing for you guys. You guys use a lot of tools, a lot of listeners. You guys use a lot of tools, a lot of websites. If there's a tool that you guys like that we should have, I know you guys go to the premarket.benzinga.com page, but if there's a tool or thing you like from another site or whatever, send me an email, jason@benzinga.com. We hired 2 more developers and we need to give them some work to do. And they're really skilled. They used to work at one of these big fintech shops. So the next thing they're going to do is going to be a pre-market prep idea generated thing. So jason@benzinga.com is my email. And you can find me on Twitter at Jason Raznick on Twitter. You know that, JRAZNICK. By the way, Pet, we didn't talk about one that fell this week, Dennis, and I want to know if you still own it. Penn.
I still own it, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, we've seen this trade. We were talking about it before he came on. The crowded trade is coming off a little bit here right now. So the question is this just a healthy pullback, or is it something of, because you're seeing all these value names start to catch a bid, and you're seeing the Momo names, which, have been going up, just start to come off a little bit. So natural rotation is what we're seeing here. Penn, obviously a victim of that rotation. Also DraftKings with the offering and the stock coming down substantially probably put some weight on Penn as well. The question is, do they just, turn around and start buying the stock again? I don't think Dave Portnoy is going away here. Obviously he's interested in sports, but, he got the whole Barstool Sports thing. I still like the story here. I still think Penn could eventually be a $100 stock, so I still own it.
Yeah, good support, 62.50, and you're still like $3 away from that. Couple lows in that area, so
I think it's a healthy pullback. I'll say that.
Yeah,
I'm not, obviously don't like seeing your stocks go down, but nothing goes straight up.
And the NFL stuff this week was a little bit of a pressure too.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's hitting it for sure.
Yep.
No, what are your thoughts on it?
So the thing I would say is when Tesla did an offering and the stock fell, it went up 400% after that. So offerings and, short-term things are really hard to tell. But what I would really say in this thing is I agree with you. The trend is going to be higher for Penn. That's what I agree with. But here the challenge that we're having in the market is people are jumping in these things to try to find the next Tesla. And are they jumping in too fast? I still own Penn. I still own it, and I'm staying in it because I believe this is a short-term drop, and I believe it's over 75 shortly. But it's just like new offerings, new specs, new online gaming things. And so how much money is there? I mean, if we really want to see a rally to 80 on Penn right now, the stimulus has to happen. That's what I believe. So if it like I know Joel mentioned the support at 62. Right now, I'm not taking anything off on Penn. I mean, I took stuff off before, but I bought more stuff. I think it's a short-term thing. I agree with you. There's more sport. I mean, I want to bet on Bryson DeChambeau. I have no way to do it. I'm in New York. I could literally take a subway or whatever, a train. I think there's a way to get to Philadelphia. And I could go bet on Bryson because it's legal in Philadelphia. Like that's my only way to really go do it. So at least I think so.
And New Jersey, Jason.
It is?
Yep.
So I can just take so why can't I pretend I'm in Jersey? I'm just like a river away. Like what the heck? Like I can just.
You got to go physically. I know it's the armpit of America, but you have to physically go to New Jersey. So
How does the freaking place know? I don't know about that. All right. Well, maybe I'll do that. So we have our Benzinga as our lunch, quarterly lunch and learn. Maybe I'll do it after before I fly home tonight. But yeah, I'm liking the market and seeing some of our trades do well. Some of our investments, like the Upworks, the TAST had a great week. One stock I've been in for forever, and I don't think I talk about on the show, is Del Taco that much, but I've been in Del Taco for probably 3 years. I think I bought it originally at 10. The symbol is TACO. I bought it at, I think, originally 10.50. It went all the way down to $3 or $4. I think I did about Del Taco originally at 12. I bought a bunch at $3 or $4, so my average cost on it is $5.70. And this week it really rocketed. And why have I not sold it? I'll tell you guys. I'll tell you. Because I like to be a little bit diversified where I have something totally uncorrelated to online stuff. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's a total diversification on Del Taco, but it's like I own a taco company. And at one point it was at $4. I tried to get some of my private equity friends to do an LBO of it, a leverage buyout. I did. My friend was on the board. My friend was not on the board at Wendy's, but he was very involved with the Wendy's. When they did Wendy's, he had like 100 franchises. So they looked at buying at $4 Del Taco with the amount of franchise it has and the margin per franchise, Dennis. It had opportunity. It's only in a few big states. It's only in a few states. So I've owned this Del Taco for a while. And I'm not selling it only because I like to have stuff that's not the stocks that everyone's talking about.
Right. So it's not just all tech.
It's not just all tech. And I own a few more of those, but I'm being honest. I own the Twilios of the world, and I own VSTO. People are talking about that. I own Zoom. I own, my favorite one is, Slack. I own that one. And it's like tacos. Yeah. People are going to continue to eat. I mean, Spencer, this week you had like 16 tacos. So I like.
Where do you get tacos downtown?
I don't know where he gets it. You look at his desk, Joel. There's taco shells everywhere. It's like taco shells. Oh, and then another stock that I still own, Generac, GNRC. I'm not selling Generac for a year. I'll tell you that. I've owned it since I owned the call options. I sold one of my calls, and then I let the call go into common. And I'm owning that for a year. I think people continue to buy.
I want to mention this stock real quick because the Generac, because I've never seen a commercial on TV for Generac until this week. I've never seen that.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. I mean, so
I've never seen a Generac commercial. What was the commercial about?
Oh, they're just like, hey, I think it's great timing. Like, be prepared, and then like shows all these people sitting in their living room watching TV, and then the lights go down, and then they come. No, I mean,
asteroid hits.
Yeah, we've had one for years, and it could just be, if they could hit more people mainstream. I know they're not cheap, but that's knocking on the door of a breakout. If it can hang up here just a little bit longer and take out
I think I bought Generic like at 120 when it was called, so it has risen a lot in the last like
three highs at 214 would be another breakout for me.
Oh, if it broke 214, okay. By the way, I did open the chat, guys, so I'm in the chat now, and so if I see, Kathy Wood, Kathy Wood is coming on in November like 10th. I just talked to people, so Kathy's a great person. She was in Michigan. Now she's traveling right now, but she gets all the rage and all the press right now. I knew her when I knew her. I guess I could say I knew her when. Very nice.
Jason, PLTR. I mean, that is just what. You got any thoughts on that? That just, I don't know if it's the same person asking about it, but they want to know. Yeah, it's a new IPO.
Palantir.
Oh, Palantir. Yeah. Not a ton of thoughts on it. Everyone's talking about it, but maybe it's gonna be like another WKHS where it just rockets. Or the last time Mitch Hodge gave that to me, WKHS, I was like, just wasn't interested. Because I'm like, whatever, and this one could be that. I'm not in it. I know the guys behind it. I think they're smart, but I'm not in it right now. But I think, this company, they focus on defense, heavy spending, security, and they're a very, very smart company. It's a very smart company. I mean, like, what about anyone buy Asana yet?
So that's been thrown out in the chat today. None of us are along it.
Well, that's too bad.
Just real quick.
Are you in it?
I told you guys the Benzinga plays. Buy the stocks that Benzinga subscribes to. and you win. It's just like clockwork.
I believe Asana actually is getting a downgrade today, if I'm not mistaken, or it's written as a, no. I'm just clarify. I believe Bernstein, not a downgrade. Sorry, I believe it was initiated with a sell. Was it Bernstein? Yes. Spencer?
It was initiated underperformed.
Yeah, I want Asana to fall to around $22, and then I'm going to buy some. I don't own it yet, but I want to buy Asana. You know, so Sarah, follow me on Twitter at Jason Raznick, and you can DM or tweet me, and I can answer more. You'll be able to get some of my trades in Benzinga, Gordon Johnson, the $15 Tesla price target. I'm gonna have Kathy Wood on and Gordon Johnson debate each other.
Real fast. Dude, that would be good. Let's get that. Let's make that happen.
Real fast. Wait, for people.
Spencer wants to kick me off. What a jerk. Go ahead.
I want to say, we've had a few people ask about t-shirts. If you send whatever your trading platform you're on, if you send them an email saying you want to see Benzinga news in your platform, and then screenshot that and email it to jason@benzinga.com, we'll get you a t-shirt.
Yes. And give me your size in that email and your address.
Right.
So
that's also important.
Exactly what Spencer said. And then tell me what things you want us to build. Pre-market recommended. Let's pre-market prep. Let's put it on the pre-market prep page. We'll put you some cool tools. We have 2 developers ready to go and kick some butt. And we're in New York today. You know, the city that doesn't sleep. If you want me to, I was going to take you guys out on the street and go like in front of Goldman Sachs, but I didn't. What, Spencer? What? Spencer's talking again. What's he saying now?
It's too loud, too noisy, and I want to let you go because we're getting close.
One question though, before you go, what do the streets look like? Like, how's New York look? Are people spooked here still, or are they like, no, COVID's and nothing burger here now?
Dennis, be careful. Spencer's about to kick some butt. He's about to kick you off. All right. So 2 things. John D, you can subscribe to Jason's picks. You can. We'll figure out a way. Just my email is jason@benzinga.com. So people on the streets. Everyone's really masks are worn by 85% of people, and like it's the younger people are not taking it serious. I would say the older people are. Like this bar outside in my hotel here, it was crowded last night. I went to bed at 9:15 last night, but it was crowded when I was walking back. So it's the streets are not crowded. Like it's like you have room to walk. It's not like typical New York, but it's also not barren. It's not dead. You know, there's a lot of cars on the road. There's a little bit of traffic. Like it's definitely picked up. The pace has picked up here in New York. And by the way, around the country, 40 or 35% of workers are back in the office. In New York, it's 10%. In LA, it's 10%. But around this country, about 35% of people are back in the office. And real quick, Chad, Asana is a project management tool. Slack is a way to communicate. Okay. Are you guys pumped up for today? You loving the pre-market prep show? If you are, do one thing. Go to YouTube and hit the thumbs up button right now and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate your host. Send them tips. Do whatever you need to do. And Spencer's trying to cut me off. Cut me off. It's okay. Love talking to you guys. Have a great day, Mitch, Robin, Steve Y, Mike. We love you guys. Joel, Dennis, have a great weekend. Josh Raznick has a big baseball tournament this weekend against
Josh.
All right.
They probably are going to get destroyed. Don't tell Josh I said that.
I hope he doesn't watch the show.
Joel, they're probably going to lose like 23-2. It's going to be terrible. But, you know, the coach already sent us an email to say, you know, make sure you guys, console your kids and tell them that, you know, if you're failing, you're learning or whatever, you know. So,
if you're failing, you're learning.
Look at this. PJ Williams in for the tip. Joel, take that $199 to the race. He's been on a horse. Who else is going to give Joel betting money? Give Joel betting money. Joel loves his horses. All right. Good night, guys. Love you guys. And do the fast.
All right. I want to have a PSA. I have a PSA real fast. Public service announcement. We talked about this earlier in the week. Apple, the iPhone event is Tuesday. We talked about this trade on Monday or Tuesday of this week. The iPhone event is in 3 days. All right. We know stocks trade up into these events. We said we would mention it later in the week. We almost forgot.
I just wrote it down.
Write down Apple. Keep it on your radar. Big event on Tuesday, which means focus on it today and Monday.
And the way I play it, to take the market risk out of it, I'll probably buy Apple and short the Qs against it. And then I eliminate that risk that tech, gets a wreck over the weekend. Like, I don't know if that's going to happen, but I want to try to extract the alpha from the event. So I will probably be long Apple, short Qs going into the weekend, thinking that they're probably going to talk a lot about Apple on Monday.
There we go.
So, and then maybe holding that right to Tuesday. So that's my trade, how I'm going to play it. You can just flat out go long Apple. Obviously, you have a risk if tech rolls over, then, obviously that's your risk. So I'm trying to eliminate that
Mitigate
risk,
the
or at
risk,
least reduce
Bunders.
that risk by hedging it. But I like the Apple short Qs.
All
Even
right,
money.
real quick. We're knocking on the door of the pre-market high here. No quit in the market, up 21.75. Not seeing much on here on resistance. I have your Globex high from September 4th. They're at 34.76 and a quarter. So that's only 17 handles away. So that definitely is and if you go based on the 9-day average trading range, you bulls are going to be salivating here. We could trade up to 35.10 and a quarter. That'd be one heck of a way to recap the week. But right now, keeping a track on that pre-market high, 34.60.
All right, that's a wrap for us. Hit that like button. We appreciate all the likes and the super chats and the participation and the comments and all of our
Super
chats.
chat.
Catch a replay of this
Super
on
chat.
YouTube, or we're on every podcast platform as well. Thanks to Jason Raznick. Please remember, all the information from our show meant to be used as informational purposes, not for investing or trading advice. We'll be back at 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Everyone have a good rest of your trading day.